Propane is transforming power generation by delivering clean, reliable, resilient solutions where they're needed the most. Propane-powered EV charging systems are helping cars and fleets stay on the road longer without relying on grid electricity and without the infrastructure investment traditional EV charging requires. Plus, power from propane generators is quieter and more efficient with far fewer emissions than diesel options. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another installment of our Consulting Specifying Engineer video series, this time with the Propane Education and Research Council. I'm Gary Cohen, very happy to be with you today. Today, we'll be discussing propane power generation in commercial construction and operations with expert Bert Warner. Bert is the Director of Commercial Business Development at the Propane Education and Research Council. He leads initiatives to increase propane awareness and execute market strategies that support propane-powered equipment and appliances for commercial construction and operations. Bert, thanks so much for joining us today.
Gary, thanks for having me.
Happy to talk to you. Let's go ahead and dive right in. What can you tell us about the Propane Education and Research Council, or PERC, and what it does?
Well, really, I think that many things, but I think at its core is education. It's very timely. Energy is on everyone's mind right now. And whether it be electrification, reduction of emissions, carbon footprint, energy is a hot topic. And propane really fits in our energy futures in a lot of ways, the green aspects, the reduction in carbon emissions. And so having these conversations now is very timely. And the Propane Education and Research Council is that arm that is able to educate and create awareness about propane and the many uses and application types.
So let's go back to step one there. What is propane?
Well, propane is an energy source that's derived from the extraction of natural gas. So the majority of our energy that's produced in the U.S. is done so through coal and natural gas. And so it's a product of that extraction. So it's readily available and it's there. And so Propane 101 is that we can use this energy that's being already created. I don't like the term byproduct, but yet it is a product of that. And so it's readily available, it's affordable, and cleaner than a lot of the other energies that are being used in that generation process.
And you mentioned that everybody is talking about energy. Another thing everybody is talking about is clean energy. Is propane a clean energy?
Yes, it is. Actually, the carbon intensity of propane is significantly lower than the national average of electric. To give you an exact example, carbon intensity for propane is around 79, whereas the national average for the electric part in the U.S. is closer to 130. So it's significantly less. Now, that's just not me saying that. That's also the EPA. The EPA has designated propane as a clean energy. And so I think that goes a long way to prove and add credibility to the type of benefits that and reductions that propane is able to bring to the environment.
Especially for our audience here at CSE, what are some of the important aspects of propane that engineers and specifiers should know about?
Well, to me, I think the availability of it and the clean aspects are very important. But I think right now, the timely topic is the resiliency aspect that propane can offer of what we've got going on in the world specifically. I mean, you can look at last week, what's happening in the Southeast, weather conditions, weather patterns, wildfires, all these things are happening at a much faster pace than they used to. And so in having resilient energy is becoming something that's a necessity. I mean, it's a mandate in many areas, depending on the application. But I think that to me is probably one of the biggest advantages of propane is that resilient aspect that we're not going to be interrupted by weather conditions and things like that. I think that's if I'm looking at designing a building, I look at several things. If it's an assisted living or a medical facility, we've got to have power available at all times. But if we look into the commercial sector, if we look at hospitality and things like that, the economics and the loss of revenue come into play as well. So there's environmental aspects as well as the economic side. And I don't think that can be ignored, especially on the front side when we're designing these buildings.
I got to say, you're giving me a tremendous segues here. You just mentioned the commercial segment. In that commercial segment, what are the uses of propane and some equipment types?
Well, you could do, I think probably the easiest to understand is backup power, or standby power generation. A lot of these buildings are using propane in that regard because it's a lot cleaner, a lot of times more affordable than traditional diesel. So backup power, but propane is used in a lot of different variations on the commercial side, from water heating to tankless water heaters to boiler systems to comfort heating. And then there's some new alternative technologies that are coming out there, the combined heat and power units that are, tackling the grid relief and things like that. There's propane cooling applications if you've got limited electric or remote applications. There's, infrared heating for docks and warehouses, or, during COVID, we moved all our eating outside. And so you need, heat a lot of times for these outdoor dining experiences. That's where propane can come into play. So it's not just a one solution energy. There's a variety of ways that you can get creative and capture all the advantages of propane.
So, for our audience, if they're looking for more information, what's the best way they can find out more about propane and about the work that you guys are doing at PERC?
I think the best place is to visit our website. It's propane.com. It couldn't be any simpler. And right there, you can go into many different application types, understanding of propane, from propane 101 all the way to how it would fit in uh, agriculture, industrial, auto gas, commercial, residential. There's not one specific segment. It's a necessary energy for every segment we have in the US.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Brett. That was all great information. Thanks so much for coming on and sharing your time and expertise with us.
Gary, thank you so much. We appreciate the opportunity to spread the good word of propane. And if you want to find out more, visit propane.com.
If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel, which has additional interviews with thought leaders and experts. You can also find more great information on our consulting specifying engineer website. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. All right.
Is that good? Should I keep going?
Karen, did that get the job done?
Nailed it. Great
Perfect.
job. Thank you so much for
All
doing
right.
that. Excellent
Oh,
job.
that was
Lovely.
easy.
Anything else, Brian, Karen, Bert, anything else that you guys want to try to cover before I hit the stop recording button?
From my side, we're all good. And I mean, I'm not the expert here, so.
All right. I'm going to take your silence as assent that we did well. I'll go ahead and stop the
Yes.
recording.